Hey guys, here we are doing fruits, moving through our My Plate. You have a choice to print out the follow along notes if you want. They're not required, but what is required are the questions that follow this presentation that are posted up to Google Classroom. So here we go. Same style, Cornell notes. What's in red is what's going to be on the note paper, and the blue is kind of the information that you'll want to write down if you're writing down. And so starting off, why do we need fruits? Why are they one of the 5 food groups? The reason why is that fruits are sources of many essential nutrients. So things like potassium, dietary fiber, vitamin C, and folic acid are all crucial to kind of keeping our bodies running healthy. Those vitamins and minerals keep us going. We also need dietary fiber that we get from fruits. So as part of an overall healthy diet, this helps reduce our blood cholesterol levels and also may help lower the risk of heart disease. Fruits are filled with vitamin C. Think of like strawberries and oranges have a ton of vitamin C. And it's important for the growth and repair of all your body tissues. So it helps your cuts heal, it helps bruises, it helps your teeth and your gums. So those of you who know a little bit of history, pirates on ships would all suffer from scurvy, and that was because they weren't getting enough fresh fruits and vegetables, and mostly that vitamin C, which helped keep their gums healthy. And when you have healthy gums, your teeth stay where they are. When you don't have healthy gums, that's when gum disease sets in, and they can your gums can kind of rot and your teeth fall out. Pretty gross. We also get fiber from fruits. So this is important for proper bowel function. Yes, that's number 2. And it helps reduce constipation. So if you've ever had difficulty with going, number 2, you need to drink lots more water, or it's an issue of not having enough fiber, which is what you get when you eat your fruits and veggies. You also have folate or folic acid, and this helps form red blood cells. So having all those red blood cells mixed in even with the white ones are signs of a healthy body. All right, let's move on. So we're going to flip to the back of your notes. You're going to fill in the definition of the place that they grow and at least one example. Again, this part is optional. I am not going to collect your notes, but I will be having the questions as an assignment to these notes. All right, so you'll see a picture of like a tree that doesn't exist with different fruits kind of all around it. And so what we're going to talk about first are fruits that come from trees. So definition is a tree which bears fruit that is edible for humans and animals. So examples are all of our citrus. So oranges, grapefruits, tangerines, lemons, limes. Bananas grow on trees, peaches, apples, pears, cherries also grow on trees. So any fruit that is edible. So in some of our yards, you'll see crab apples, and crab apples are not edible. They don't taste very good. They kind of make your tummy hurt. But if they're an apple or a pear tree that you know in your yard that produces edible, yummy, delicious fruit, then of course, go ahead and eat those. Next category is vines. So the definition is any plant having a long, slender stem that trails or creeps on the ground or climbs by winding itself about something as a support. So our main example would be grapes. If grapes were to grow out like in nature, they would either grow and spread along like the ground and wind its way on any bush or tree nearby for support. What farmers do, and if you've ever seen grapes growing in a field, is they put up all these trellises, so they have supports. And what happens is the grapes, their vines kind of grow up around them, supporting all the grapes that are on that vine. Because if you imagine grapes growing along the ground, any part of the bunch of grapes that was in contact with the dirt, bugs and critters would come along and like eat all that fruit. And if it was not eaten by any bugs or critters, it would start to rot a lot faster because it's in contact with the dirt. So farmers, to ensure that bugs and critters aren't getting onto their product, they put them up on those trellises, and when they grow, then they kind of drop down like the picture is showing you. Another common vine fruit that you might not know is a vine are watermelons. Believe it or not, watermelons will grow up on something if you give it support. But as that melon continues to grow, it gets so big and heavy that sometimes before they ripen, if they are up off the ground, they tend to snap off and drop. And then you don't have the fruit. So whenever I've grown watermelons, you see them just take over like the ground of like your backyard. And that yellow spot that appears like on the bottom of a watermelon is where it had contact with the ground. But because it has that big old like rind protecting the inner fruit, rotting isn't as likely as like a delicate, fragile grape would be if it was on the ground. All right, next category, bushes. So definition of fruits that fall on bushes is the small fruit growing on a woody bush. So examples are things like raspberries, blueberries, and blackberries. These actually grow really great here in Colorado. There's a local farm in town called Garden Sweet, who I swear has the best raspberries. Let's see, we usually go picking those July, August, and they are just so sweet, yummy, delicious. If you've ever gone berry picking, you know how good like a warm, sun-ripened berry is. But here, raspberry, blackberries, and blueberries, like they grow in really big bushes, so they can get up to being like 6 feet tall, like 6 feet wide. Again, they do really well when they have some support so that the fruit doesn't weigh it down. But those are some of those woody bushes that fruits grow on. Next category, ground fruits. So the definition of a ground fruit is that they have seeds that are planted into the ground and they grow up out of the ground. A common example are strawberries. A lot of us are familiar with how strawberries grow. We might even have them like in our home gardens. But a ground fruit that sometimes surprises people is pineapples. If you've ever been to Hawaii, you've seen the fields and fields of pineapples. And they're these big kind of spiky bushes with like one pineapple, maybe two, growing out of the middle. And it takes about 3 years for a pineapple to reach its full maturity and then get harvested. But it is a ground fruit. It doesn't grow off of a tree, which I think some people think it does. So maybe that was new information for you. Let's go to the next category. So now we're back to the front side of that note paper if you're following along, and it's talking about how many serving sizes that you need per day. And note that it says write down what applies to you. So if you're a female between 9 and 18 years old, which most of you fall in that category, you need 1 1/2 cups of fruits per day. And then for males, it kind of varies between 1 1/2 and up to 2 cups. So what is a serving size? If it's recommended that you get like 1 1/2 cups a day, one medium-sized fruit, so something the size of a baseball, equals 1 cup. So if you eat an apple that's the size of a baseball, you fulfilled 1 cup of your fruit intake for the day. 1/2 cup of chopped, cooked, or canned fruit counts as a 1/2 cup. And then 1/2 cup of juice. So if you drink orange juice or something like that in the morning, then it would count towards your fruit intake. And if you look at the picture here, it kind of tells you like 32 grapes is roughly like a cup, or 1 large banana equals a cup. So you might find that you maybe get a lot more of your fruit than is actually recommended. Similar to our vegetables, buying fresh fruits is you want to buy in season when you can. So think of the summer months. If you go to the grocery store, they're like overwhelmed with watermelons because that's the season for them, is summer. It's when they're highest in quality, lowest in cost, and the most plentiful. It says buy at the peak of ripeness. That's like when going to the farmer's market or going to a local farmer and being able to pick right from their fields. You are going to get like the most flavor that you're going to ever get of any type of fruit. I come from California, right on the Central Coast, where strawberries are a huge product or a crop. And they come into season late spring, early summer. So we're talking like May, June. And when you buy them and they're in season, they taste so much better. They're more red all the way through, where strawberries that we get here in Colorado, if you've gone to the store and you've looked at them, sometimes they still have that little white or like greenish top by the where the green or the leaves are. And that's because they had to pick them so early on because they continue to ripen as they travel on trucks to get out to Colorado. So the closer you can get to the farm or the source of the crop, the more flavor and the closer you're eating it to the peak of ripeness, and it's way more delicious. All right, when fruits are in season for Colorado, notice I have fall up there because I haven't updated it for the spring. But we can look down here and see like April, May, June, kind of heading into summertime. Strawberries start coming into season, I would say for Colorado or northern Colorado, more of like that May to June time. You'll see the black raspberries are like a summertime, blueberries, red raspberries. Those all do really well here. But peaches, if you guys know in Colorado where those delicious Palisade peaches come from, they come from the western slope. So those do well in Colorado as well. But those are like in prime season in August. That's when you see all of like the booths around to get your Palisade peaches and cherries and things like that. All right, storing your fruits. Store ripe, unwashed fruits in the fridge. Nowadays, though, any produce that you're picking up in the store because of COVID-19, you want to make sure that they do get washed to make sure that they're not bringing any of the virus into your home. But if you are going to wash them as you bring them into the house, just make sure that you dry them really thoroughly. Any moisture that's left on the like skin of a peach or a softer fruit is going to make it go bad a lot faster. Things that are more hardy, apples and oranges and things like that, you can wash them, dry them, and then get them into the fridge, and they should do a lot better than something more delicate. Place in plastic bags or fruit drawers to retain the moisture and the crispness, with exceptions. Bananas, grapefruits, oranges, and pineapples, they prefer to be on your counter. So if you can, try to keep those away. If you've ever put a banana into the fridge, what happens is the peel goes brown really fast. It's not that the banana inside has gone bad, but it's something about the moisture that makes the outside just look like it's gone real old, real fast. And it says if you want to ripen other fruits, leave them on the counter. Some people also say putting them into like a brown paper bag will help them ripen up a little bit faster. Preparing your fruits. Even if you've washed them coming into the house to prevent COVID-19, I would recommend washing them another time, giving them a quick rinse under running water before you use them. You can use a hand brush to clean like any firmer fruits or vegetables that might have some dirt or anything left on them. And then if you're going to be cooking, we don't really necessarily cook a lot of our fruits unless we're doing desserts. But if you can, you'll leave on edible skins because that's where all the fiber and nutrients are in the fruit. Leave the pieces as large as possible. That preserves more of those nutrients. And you want to avoid overcooking because it can change the color and texture. And depending on what you're making, you might want to cook past tender crisp. Like if you're making an apple pie, you peel it, you cook those apples down until they're nice and soft because nobody wants like a crunchy apple pie. All right, and then this is where you would write your summary. So what did you take away from this? What have you learned? How could you summarize what we talked about here with fruits? All right, guys, I hope you're doing well. I will post the next one next week. Bye.